All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Troy, and I'm going to be presenting a ad campaign that's focused on pushing for a cleaner and safer future. So the ad that I created centers around one urgent and important message, and that message being we need to stop using plastic water bottles and start switching to more reusable and sustainable options. And mainly my ad focuses more on the environmental aspect, but this could also be for our health and overall long-term well-being. So in this ad pitch, I'll walk through the ad I designed, the strategy I use behind it, how it uses different persuasive techniques to get people thinking and reflecting. And ultimately, I want them to start acting differently, choose different options. And next, I'll explain my target audience, the messaging choices I made, how emotional appeal plays a role, and I'll leave listeners with two open-ended questions to consider at the end. So the first thing that I want to bring up is our ideal, image of the ocean. So we usually picture it as something, that's light, calm, peaceful, and the color of the ocean itself being like a soft blue shade and with a lot of lively creatures swimming around, just an overall fun environment where you're just supposed to feel happy and just totally relaxed. But the photo that I specifically chose completely flips this, imaginative ocean image around. Instead, it's dark, it's depressing, and if you kind of, zoom into the turtle almost looks sad as well. It's trapped in something that it's never seen before, or it's like lived its life for so long, and then now all of a sudden it's surrounded by plastic, and it's just so confused on, what is happening to me? What did I do to deserve it? And I think this image that I chose creates, just a really strong emotional reaction. And I thought that, when people see ads, they kind of just glance at it or not think too deeply about it. They just kind of look at the ad. So that's why I really wanted to use an ad that has an image that heavily relies on pathos and like a person's emotional appeal. And this will kind of get like an immediate reaction from somebody. As we all know, turtles are harmless, chill, kind creatures. So when we see a turtle suffering like this, our natural reaction is like, how could we let this happen, turtles? And I think that question that it leaves the viewers with truly makes the ad powerful. So next, I want to talk about the design language of the ad itself, like the different text. So obviously, uh, the text is in a bold color, everything's bolded, the font is different. So mainly I want the text to pop out as well. So I think I use the pink salmon color because salmon ties in with sea creatures, but as well as I think this kind of pinkish shade kind of really pops out. It's a color that you'll see often and will definitely get a lot of looks from viewers that see this ad. Uh, Next, I want to talk about my slogan, which is your hydration is their strangulation. Dot 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 switch now. So I think this works. The slogan works because of how short but direct it is. It uses intense language like strangulation. Um, and I think it definitely gets its point across in just a few short words. And it clearly shows, what type of message I'm trying to send to the audience. Stop using these plastic water bottles because the simple, convenient action can have serious consequences to marine animals that we might never know, like they strangle and they, die. Next, I want to just talk about like the emotional tone of this ad. Obviously I use turtles because, they're animals that are super innocent and they get super affected by this. A lot of them, mistake plastic for food because of its bright colors that they're usually used to eating, or how it floats, just like how their food floats. And when they eat this food, they can choke on it, or their bodies are just not meant to eat these plastic inorganic stuff, and it can cause a lot of internal injuries. Next, I want to talk about my next piece of text, which is under turtle. Again, it's in the pink color, the font, just like overall really popping. And this is the 100,000 marine mammals die each year due to plastic pollution. That's like wiping out the entire city of Costa Mesa every single year. So obviously here I added like a factual statistical punch to the ad. And $100,000, I mean 100,000 sounds huge, and definitely adds a lot to my argument and my ad. But I think it's kind of hard to visualize 100,000. Like we know that's a lot, but what does it actually um mean? So I searched up nearby cities, and I actually discovered that the city of Costa Mesa has a population of 108,000 people. So so I made the comparison between, all the mammals that die each year to the population of Costa Mesa. So I'm basically saying that like basically if you drink all this water from the plastic, then you're kind of basically wiping all these animals, and that's comparable to the city of Costa Mesa. And I specifically chose a local city that many of us are familiar with, just to make the statistic easier to understand and more personal. It definitely forces you to stop and really think about the impact that these plastic water bottles are making. And, it creates a really strong emotional and visual reaction that that ad that I try to make is aiming for. So next is the credibility of the ad. I cited WWF, which is where I got the statistic from. And WWF is a well-known and respected organization, and their whole mission is to, dedicated to wildlife protection and environmental conservation. So the audience will know that, this number didn't come out of anywhere. It was a genuine number that I found from a well-trusted organization. Uh, the next, uh, the next thing that I have underneath there is the census from, which is a government website, which is also credible. So I think another reason why this ad works is because of the visual rhetoric that it does. There's a lot of contrast between, what your expectations of the beauty of the ocean is, but it compares itself to the reality, which is, this sad, polluted place that we don't really think about. And I think using this is far more impactful because it's just immediate reaction. Viewers don't even have to read, they just see. And I think that's really important with ads because that's what a lot of people do. So next, I want to say that I think I used a good implicit argument with this. I did not say straight up, you are killing turtles, but instead I use words that strongly encourage the viewers to reflect on their own habits. And I think this is, super powerful because it lets the reader reflect and come to their own conclusion. So with my target audience, I think that this is everyone because plastic water bottles are used like a lot. And whenever I go to Costco, I always see it being bought. And even if you don't use it, you definitely know some people that use it. So if I was to place this ad, I would place it where there'll be a lot of high traffic. I was thinking around shopping malls where people can make a lot of decisions on they could purchase a new reusable water bottle, or they could stop thinking about buying these single-use plastic water bottles. elevators, college campuses, and gyms. And since I used the comparison with the city of Costa Mesa, I thought that, it's you can kind of only use this ad in Orange County because people in other states or counties wouldn't really know what Costa Mesa is. So if they want to use it in other areas, they would have to change that city to something else closer to them. So I think this ad just makes people feel like they're part of the problem, like they're the personal responsibility, and just basically create guilt. So I'm not supposed to say what fallacy it is. So two questions that I want to leave the viewers with is first, how do convenience and habit affect the environmental choices we make every day? That's my first question. And second, how much of the plastic problem is caused by companies and how much is driven by our own spending habits and choices as consumers? So, in conclusion, plastic pollution is killing marine life every day. And, we can definitely change this by stop using plastic water bottles and switch to reusable water bottles. Thank you for listening.